My name is Jana Kotíka. As already said, I am currently working at SEAT SA, but I am also a member of ŠKODA Auto, or an employee of ŠKODA Auto, and also a member of diversity team at ŠKODA Auto currently. And I'm also very happy that my colleagues from diversity department, Martina and Natalia, I see them. So hello to Prague, and also my colleagues from employee resource group ŠKODA Proud, Václav, I saw Václav and Karel, so hello to you all. And I will be sharing my experience with setting up an ERG at ŠKODA Auto, but also since I am now at SEAT, I can also share the comparison or some insights from a different country with running an ERG. And my main inspiration, or my main goal today, is to inspire you a little bit to show the personal story, what benefits ERGs are getting for the company, but also for you as an individual, and also to encourage you not to be afraid to really launch or to engage, and also to see that it takes a lot of time and energy, and it's not something for granted. And so this is the agenda for today that I put together, and hopefully if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat, or later on, as Jana said, there will be a possibility to discuss in the Q&A section. A little bit of the icebreaker at the beginning. I really like that already in the chat we had this introduction. I'm currently in a very schizophrenic situation because as an employee, I'm an employee of ŠKODA, but I'm currently based in Martorell or Barcelona, Spain at SEAT. And apart from the fact that in both companies I am based in the diversity department, I am also a member of a core team of ŠKODA Proud, our employee resource group at ŠKODA Auto, and also a member of employee resource group Internationals at ŠKODA. And here at SEAT, I am a member of Pride Musas, which is an employee resource group based in SEAT. As you can see, it's a little bit of a journey and a split situation, but also I think that both words can always bring a lot of contribution and great experience. So we're talking about ERGs. When I say ERG, it's the abbreviation of employee resource groups, but also employee resource group, even though it is very commonly used, it's not the only expression that is used. You can see I put a little bit of a word cloud here, that there are definitely more terms that you can find in connection with employee resource groups. I think that, for example, one of the common one is affinity group, business resource groups, colleagues, co-workers resource groups, whatever you call it. The idea is that you have an internal employee resource group that is somehow connected with the diversity aspect of the people, of the members connected with this employee resource group. So it's normally voluntarily employee-led, so it's not something that the management would say, this is something that we want. It's more the employees themselves lead these activities, employee resource groups, and the employee resource group foster a diverse, inclusive workplace aligned with the organizations and the goals of the organizations in which they operate. And normally ERGs are connected with a specific diversity dimension, and such dimensions can be, of course, sexual orientation or gender identity. It could be also gender itself. So we have, for example, many women's career network and so on. Then it can be a life situation, for example, parents, or it can be intergenerational employee resource group, kind of connecting the younger generation with the elderly ones and so on. It could be an ERG that is connected with some ability or disability, individual capacity, or it could be also as a veteran status. In other countries, it's very common to have a veteran status employee resource groups. So you can see that there's a lot of possibilities with the employee resource group. But when we're asking about what is an ERG, it is also important to say what might not be an ERG, because many times you have a lot of communities. For example, at ŠKODA, apart from these two ERGs that I was mentioning, ŠKODA Proud and International at ŠKODA, we also have, for example, a community of people who like to run and do exercises. And we have this Strava application where you can, support each other and have a leadership board and so on. We don't consider this an ERG, but it's a community of employees that is also very important for the company culture and the development of healthy environment. So it is also very good to distinguish between what is an ERG, what is employee resource group, and what is, for example, just an employee community that is a little bit outside of this scope. So this is a general introduction for what is the ERG, and before we get more into the theoretical part of how to establish an ERG, what are some best tips and so on, let's have a look at a personal example. Because as I mentioned, I am a member of ŠKODA Proud, which is an employee resource group at ŠKODA Auto that was established, founded in 2021. And it stands for LGBTI plus employees, but also allies at ŠKODA Auto. It is open for every employee, regardless of hierarchy, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. And it is also open to both administrative employees as well as direct area. That means people working in production, colleagues working in production. What is important here, you can see a photo of a core team. Currently, there's seven core team members, and we started in 2021. Well, not actually me, because this is something that I would like to share with you how it all started, because I think it's important. A colleague from Volkswagen, who was an international employee that was sent to ŠKODA on his international assignment, was member of We Drive Proud, which is an employee resource group based in Volkswagen. And he got to know a colleague from technical development area and asked, hey, don't you want to start a network like we have We Drive Proud here at ŠKODA? And this idea was passed to other colleagues. And then there were 4 people who started meeting each other from different areas, from quality, from technical development, from marketing, and so on. They started meeting together and saying, hey, what are we going to do? Like, how can we make it official? Like, we are meeting this unofficially, but how can we get the company recognition? And then they were like thinking, let's approach somebody from HR. And they approached me. I was a diversity specialist back then. And I said, wow, amazing. We don't have any procedure for this. There is no rules, but since on the market, I can see that ERGs is a big thing. Like everybody has some ERGs. And I think it would be great if we could make it happen. And suddenly there was the discussion, okay, name, okay, logo. How can we make it official? Who needs to give us a blessing? And it was very kind of vivid, very organic, like not very structured, but it all was happening. And then in May 2021, on 17th of May, we officially launched our ERG. 17th of May is an International Day against homophobia, transphobia, and biphobia. So it was a very nice coincidence. And it also worked with other thing. And that is that on this day, we as a company joined the Pride Business Forum, which is a platform of employers in the Czech Republic that fights together or works together for more inclusive workplace towards LGBTI plus employees. And this was kind of like this very nice approach where you had the example of employee-led initiative, so the employee resource group, but also the company-led initiative joining Pride Business Forum as a platform, as a network of companies that fight for equality, and that worked very well. So we have the core team, then we have regular members. We decided to go for active applications. If somebody wants to become a member, we are not adding just somebody randomly on the street or whoever has a lanyard or sticker. We want everybody to proactively say, I want to become a member. So that we feel that we have the psychological safety, because at the beginning when we started running the network, the main focus was on creating a safe space where we don't care what is the sexual orientation or gender identity. We just want to make sure that everybody feels welcome and safe to share their stories. So this is why we wanted to active membership, so that there's not somebody, for example, who's going to be like trolling And it also happened, you know, that, for example, when we launched the group, that there were many great reactions. Yeah, we're so happy that we have an ERG. This is so cool. I'm supporting it and so on. But of course, we also get some negative comments, like by a citation from Bible on 5 lines about, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah and so on. Then the other thing, apart from this active membership request, we also have alignment with the DEI team that is Martina Zimmerman and Natalia Hudecova. Hello. And thanks to them, we also have some budget for activities. What is very important is, I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. The budget thing can be very tricky because many times the company is doing a lot of things on top of what the ERG can actually be doing. But it's good to have some budget so that the ERG has some autonomy and can also decide on their activities. With ŠKODA Prav, we don't do only activities internal and external, or only internal, but we also do external. I put a little bit of photos here. It's like a collage. From the external, you can see just last week there was the fun and run. Last year we participated. This year we participated again. You can see beautiful backstage with the flags and t-shirts. Last year we went to Prague Pride for the first time. We also, for internal events, for example, we had a talk with Esther Janečková on the counseling center that helps with people to people who are coming out. We had a documentary screening, The Law of Love, which is a documentary in the Czech Republic about the same-sex marriage, the journey of the law. Together with we had a discussion with the director of this documentary, so that was very nice. We support the DEI team on activities that they're running. For example, there is the diversity community meetups, where every year, once or twice, the DEI team puts together all diversity initiatives in the company, and we as ŠKODA Proud can present what we are doing and support the whole DEI efforts. Apart from that, we do a lot of ŠKODA Proud kind of informal networking. For example, we do beer talks like every month between Mladá Boleslav, one month, and then later again in Prague, which can be attended by 5 people, but also by 20 people. We sometimes do hiking trips, and I'm going to share a very nice tip that thanks to Karel we did last year. There was a guided tour of the state Chateau Sichrov on LGBTI plus history. I learned so much. I updated myself on all the gossip minimum from the history and all the secret letters between all the duchess and dukes and so on, and that was very entertaining. So as you can see, the scope is very diverse, but the very important thing is it's giving us this kind of sense of engagement and sense of belonging, and we are building this psychological safety within the group so that we feel that we can be authentic, which is very important. And then I can see, for example, in the 2 years, what journey we did. My personal example, 2021, when there was an event with ERG, with our ŠKODA Proud ERG, I was sometimes kind of split because I was also the diversity specialist. So it was easier for me to hide behind the diversity chair and not to say I am ŠKODA Proud. 2 years later, or even sooner, but I can see that I'm very strongly and proudly standing and presenting myself as a member of a core team and all the activities that we are doing. And a similar journey for all my colleagues. And I am, extremely grateful for the friendships that we gain in the core team, because we have a mixture of organizers from marketing, HR, technical development, production, quality, and I don't know what other departments we have as well. And also, we get a lot of inspiration from others. I can see Jana Kotíka, who's the guru on LGBTI plus diversity and equality in the Czech Republic. Thanks to her and her inspiration, we did a lot of interesting events. For example, the talk with Esther Janečková and so on. We also joined Pride Business Forum, where we share the networking with other companies and really support each other on the activities, but also some struggles. And last but not least, we're a production company, so sometimes it is difficult to, not everybody has access to Office 365, which is the system that we use at ŠKODA or in Volkswagen. So we have a Microsoft Teams group where we post interesting articles or invitations to events, workshops, and so on. But we also sometimes send direct emails, because if we have somebody that doesn't have the ŠKODA email address, we need to be sure that we can invite also somebody from outside of this office world. So this was my personal example on ŠKODA Proud, and I'm very, very proud that we have ŠKODA Proud at ŠKODA Auto. And if you remember the agenda, I said this fun joke about a rainbow electromobility campaign, because when ŠKODA Proud was founded in 2021, we put a notice, a kind of news update on our internal portal for ŠKODA employees. Hey, we have ŠKODA Proud, join us, you know, this is what we stand for, this is what we want to be, building bridges, safe space, and so on. And a colleague from production who doesn't speak, actually a manager who doesn't speak English very well, called my colleague and said, what is this new rainbow electromobility campaign about? I didn't know about it, because Proud in Czech, Proud means current. And so they thought that the name ŠKODA Proud is related to electromobility, to the electric current, rather than being proud, being, you know, the pride that we feel when we can be ourselves and authentic. So this is about ŠKODA Proud. And of course, ŠKODA Auto is a member of the whole family of Volkswagen Group. And I put here a few logos. This is not a definite, because Volkswagen Group is one of the biggest companies in the world. We have around 650,000 employees. It's a huge number. What is important, we have a lot of autonomy within the brands, but we are organized into some kind of clusters. For example, ŠKODA, SEAT, Volkswagen, and Volkswagen commercial vehicles are so-called brand volume, brand group volume. So we have these, we are the brands that are supposed to be producing more cars. Then you have the luxury or premium brands. That's, for example, Audi, Lamborghini, Ducati, Bentley. Then you have also the division on its own, that's Porsche, luxury and sports. And then you have, for example, the trucks, Scania, MAN, and so on. Then we have CARIOT, which is a new entity. A few years ago, it was established, and it's about developing software for Volkswagen cars, for electric cars. And here you have examples of different networks within our brands, within Volkswagen Group. You can see that a lot of the diversity dimensions, such as the sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender itself, or internationalization or nationality, these are the ERGs or the dimensions that are kind of repeating in different brands. And one very interesting thing is, while we get inspiration from each other within the group, there is no coordination. We are all different ERGs, separately located in different location, different brands, and different names as well. So you can see, whereas at Audi it's Queer at Audi, at ŠKODA it's ŠKODA Proud, and Volkswagen it's We Drive Proud, and at Bentley it's Be United. So you see that you have these different examples of that. And I wanted to also show you a few other companies outside of Volkswagen that are international, a little bit smaller than Volkswagen in terms of number, but they run a little bit differently, the ERGs. Just when you look at SAP, they have a history of ERGs running 30 years. You know, this is when we're talking about 2 years history of ŠKODA Proud. Of course, 30 years is a huge legacy to build on. And I wanted to say one thing about these ERGs networks, about these networks from these international companies. Normally they have a different structure. They have, for example, Amazon, they have Glamazon, which is an LGBTI plus employee resource group, which runs on the global level with local chapters. Whereas I told you in Volkswagen, it's a little bit different. It's very separated. We get inspiration, we connect somehow, there is some inspiration, but we are not having the same name or some structure, hierarchy, and so on. We are very independent. Here in these companies, normally you have really the global core team or global running team, and then you have the local chapters. And just for a curiosity, or just out of curiosity, I look at the numbers. I really, all these companies have great websites where they talk about their ERGs. SAP has 8 ERGs, McKinsey has 7, Google has 17, Microsoft has 9, and Amazon has 13. So it's quite a very nice, you know, network and a great inspiration what you can do. Now, I showed you my personal example. I showed you a little bit of ŠKODA and ŠKODA Proud, and also Volkswagen and what is outside. And now, why do we actually talk about ERGs? Why is it such a buzz? Or, as I told you, there's a long history, 30 years, for example, SAP and so on. What are the benefits? Like, why should we even be talking about it? I honestly think that ERGs are a mirror of the company culture, because if you have the right conditions, the right level of safety and engagement and sense of belonging in the company, ERGs are gonna be created themselves very, very organically, very, very quickly. Whereas when you have very strict fear-based culture, Angstkultur as we use in German, then it's very likely that there will be no ERGs, because it will be all very focused on different topics. So ERGs can really help you with a wide range of topics. You can align them to I'm going to put it all here. You can align them to your corporate strategy or your DEI strategy. For example, when you have a lot of activities that you do on diversity and inclusion, or diversity, equity, inclusion in your company, and you need the community of people that will come to your events, that will promote your events, that will perhaps sometimes suggest events organize, then this is a great arm that you can use. It's not always from the beginning, but it's a journey. It's a journey of creating this authentic and supporting culture. ERGs can come up with suggestions how to change working conditions so that it's more inclusive or safe. It can also grow new leaders for your company, because there is nothing better than having authentic leaders who are very confident of their identities and can promote psychological safety in the teams. ERG is a great factor for the outside, be it employer branding. So, for example, HR marketing, or like when you talk to university students or graduates, why they should join your company. ERGs is something that is always a great magnet. It's kind of like a very nice possibility how to communicate with potential candidates. It will definitely help you with your ESG metrics. ESG is a big thing. There's a lot of regulation on it. From next year in the EU, all the companies that are listed on stock markets will have to report non-financial reporting. I know that majority of the companies, even in the D&I Shapers, are already doing some kind of non-financial reporting now, but communicating that you have a company culture where employee resource groups are operating and they're heard, they are taken seriously, is a wonderful thing that is definitely going to help you with your ESG score, especially in the social pillar. If just to put it in context, ESG metrics is the environmental, social, and governmental. And it is kind of a framework where financial markets are, they want to evaluate the companies on these metrics so that they can be sure that if they, for example, borrow their money or and so on, that it's a safe bet that this company is gonna return the money and it's gonna be a good investment. And also ERGs are great boosts of innovations, new ideas, and you bring people together. Just the example I showed you on ŠKODA Proud. We are people who would probably never meet at ŠKODA Auto because we are from different areas. But ŠKODA Proud put us together. We have a common sense, we have a common goal, and we work together, and we really like to spend time together. We share information, so it also helps with the flow of information, and definitely it kind of goes against the silos. It breaks the silos across the company. Okay, so this is a few examples of the benefits. and let's talk about the requirements or some kind of like the technical things what you should be thinking about when you're talking about ERGs or establishing ERGs in your company. First of all, don't force ERGs. You know, that you can have an open call that you would like to, as a company, support your DEI efforts or improve your company culture, that you would like to see an ERG in company, but don't push people into doing it. It has to be organic, and people have to feel safe and confident to be standing somewhere and support these efforts. It cannot be run from the management or from HR. It has to be an employee-led, and it has to be voluntary as well. Really, you can't push it, which means it's gonna take time. And this is another factor. When you start an ERG, don't expect miracles from the first day or first year or first 2 years. It's just everything that happens is a great win. Even everything that doesn't happen is a great win because you learn from it as well. Important thing for ERGs, make it open to everyone. ERGs shouldn't be an exclusive club. It shouldn't be a one-man or one-woman show. It should be really, you know, a place where you connect the people and you across the hierarchies and across areas and across silos. So this is very important. For example, a women network should never be only for women. It should also be for us men. LGBTI plus network shouldn't be just for LGBTI plus people or employees. It should be open to everybody, for allies, everybody who wants to connect on the same principles and some values. That's, for example, I can share an example from Audi. They have 4 employee resource groups, and they also had a request to launch another one from a group of employees that would be connected on introverts. Interesting idea, but they wanted it only for introverts. And the diversity department said, no, we can't do this because one of the aspects of ERGs is it's open for everyone. It can't be an exclusive club of somebody. It has to be building the bridges. It has to be open for everyone. What is a good practice? We at ŠKODA have it, is an application to establish an ERG. As you remember, in 2021, we had no application. So it was just people contacting HR and we said yes. So this is something that can happen to you, that people will contact you and you might not have the process in place. That's fine, but you can learn from it, because then when we reconstructed or deconstructed the journey with ŠKODA Proud, we were able to create a very, very simple formula about, you know, what steps you need to follow, who to contact, and so on. With this comes some basic requirements, because if you want to establish an ERG, normally you should have some number of members at least. You know, an ERG shouldn't be a group of 3 people. And then you should have some structure, for example, a core team, somebody who's organizing the ERG. And this also shouldn't be just one person. It should be, and you can put whatever number you want, 3 people, 5 people, whatever fits the size of your organization. Every ERG should have a name that is going to be somehow explanatory in terms of what they stand for. It doesn't make sense, for example, for ŠKODA Proud to be called Friends of Combustion Engines, because it doesn't tell, you know, the real things that we're doing or we're standing for. So ŠKODA Proud is kind of explanatory. So this is one of the things. The name is also important. With the structure, it's very important to talk about the roles, responsibilities, who's doing what, and also set up regular kind of meetings or exchange, especially with the DEI department or anybody in HR who might be responsible for company culture or topics related with this. Oh, this is one. The other thing is working time. In some companies, ERGs are done that you can work on ERG topics or projects within your working time, and you're also evaluated for it. So it's part of your annual review or your personal, you know, assessment. In, for example, at ŠKODA as well as at SEAT, everything that we do in employee resource groups is on top of our work. It's voluntary. We don't get any assessment for it. We just get good feeling and, of course, support and encouragement, and we see also the great fruits of, you know, improved company culture and so on. But normally it is supposed to be on top of your daily activities. for example, in our companies. But I, for example, talked to Michaela from MSD, I think, and she told us that there they have 10%, I think, of their working time that they can dedicate, for example, to working in ERGs, which is great. Every company has a different, but that's something that you should also specifically specify. Budget, it's really good to also dedicate a budget, because even though many things can be done from the company culture or sustainability department or DEI department, it's also good to give some autonomy and responsibility to the in-producers group itself, so that they can operate and decide on some of the budget. I can share an example, for example, from Pride Musas. Here, the budget at SEAT is about €8,000 a year. And majority of it goes into participation of SEAT at Barcelona Pride, which also creates the thing that if you put all the budgets towards this, and then you want to do other things throughout the year, you need to make sure that you cooperate. In our case here, it's the diversity department, where we can support each other and find other ways of budgeting or sourcing. The other thing is, what is important is communication. Just like I was talking about the name, it's very important to set up with your colleagues in the company how you're going to be communicating what the ERG is doing. It shouldn't be, for example, happening that ERG is going to be going directly to, I don't know, people responsible for communication without, without making sure that it is aligned, for example, with the diversity team or HR team or somebody else who's responsible for the topic. It shouldn't happen that ERG is going to be representing some kind of structure or topic that somebody else is responsible in the company and put it on the social media. So this is all the things that is also very important to think about when we talk about communication, external communication, social media, but also within the company, whether, like the ERG is supposed to be doing all these things or coordinated with the diversity department, for example, or somebody else responsible for this topic. The recommendation is always, even though it's a lot of work, because every time we talk to anybody, Bentley, Audi, here at ŠKODA as well, the more ERGs you have, the more time, for example, as a diversity expert, you're going to spend on dealing with it, because there's going to be a lot of coordination. So the communication in this is very important. So these are a little bit of the requirements. I can also share an example from Volkswagen Group. Audi decided to go for methodical procedure. So they have kind of like a legal document or kind of internal legal document on ERGs, including how to set up, what it is, the working times, all these things, responsibilities. And so all these things are done in this legal document that is internal legal document. As ŠKODA, for example, we went a different way. Instead of making it this kind of very robust and very difficult, very heavy, rigid document, there is a guideline, and we ask the employees to follow it. For example, with ŠKODA Proud, we were always encouraging, saying ERGs are a basic stone, or it's kind of like a mirror of the company culture, or it's important for the company culture. Please stand up other colleagues and try to establish another ERGs. And then colleagues from international at ŠKODA really said, hey, we took this, encouragement, and we started our ERG, and now we have 2 ERGs. Again, bottom-up initiatives from the employees, supported by the company, especially the DEI department. So this is something for the requirements, and the different approaches about whether to make it technocratic or kind of more like the guideline soft approach. As for the challenges,
yeah, no, sorry to interrupt you, but we should leave some minutes for the questions. So I just wanted to ask you how many slides are left?
5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for keeping an eye on the timing for me. As for the challenges, I think that one of the basic things with ERGs is sometimes we have different expectations. It's very important from ourselves, but also from different stakeholders, be it the board members, be it HR department or DEI or communication or anybody. If you have professionals working on something in the company and they're doing all this ERG work on top of their work, it is sometimes difficult to expect great things, but great things will happen anyway. It just needs time and reasonable expectations. So this is one of my things, that never expect too much and work with reasonable expectations. Many times what can happen is insufficient budget. I think that you know it from any kind of topic, that sometimes you don't get the sufficient budget. But then it's really about communication and connecting the topics of ERGs with, for example, other efforts or other initiatives within the company, so that you get the budget. Inconsistent support is, is also connected a little bit with pinkwashing. You might know the term greenwashing with environmental efforts of the companies. Pinkwashing is very easy. Every company can easily, put a rainbow logo or very easily put a rainbow flag on their factory. But if they don't do any homework, for example, like at ŠKODA, in the past 2 years, we did trainings for HR professionals on LGBTI+ topics, so that they understand the situations that LGBTI+ colleagues can go through and how to support them and so on. Or we did a talk for foremen and for women in the production to explain the basic terms of LGBTI+ diversity. If you don't do these little things, then it might seem whatever you do on the company level like a pinkwashing. And this is and then of course, once you get the PR and once you get the great applause, you're gonna drop the topic and you're not gonna care about the ERGs as a, for example, board member or as a management or the HR's department and so on. This is important to say, that the support and the importance of the ERGs has to be consistent, because unfortunately sometimes it can happen that it's inconsistent. What is also challenging is how to measure success. We at ŠKODA always ask ourselves, is it the number of colleagues that we have in the network? Is it the number of events? Is it, I don't know what, you can put whatever, but it is important. I like to use the words of Martina from diversity department of ŠKODA. Whatever has a value or you mean it real in a company, you need to put a KPI on it. And so it is important, so that you have this kind of guideline, this lighthouse that you're approaching to. You can also easily lose a momentum. Sometimes you have enthusiastic members. Sometimes you have people that are kind of drawing back and not doing anything, very passive. And one thing that also I would like to point out is the crisis management, because it can also happen to you that when you do topics on diversity, for example, women network or LGBTI+ network in your company, like this employee resource group, there can be negative comments. And you as a company need to stand up for the values. And I think that also externally, sometimes it can happen that you have a lot of trolls on social media. So this is important to be prepared and communicate the values that you have as a company. Last but not least, this is a picture of a meeting of a core team of Pride Musas here at SEAT, our employee resource group, together with the board member Laura Carnicero. One of the great recommendations that I have here from SEAT is have at least twice a year a meeting of the board members or some executive sponsor for the ERG, together with the core team of the ERG, so that there is the dialogue and they take each other seriously and they can support each other. And secondly, also set up regular meetings of the ERG with some HR function, DEI team, or somebody who's responsible for the topic in the company, so that you have kind of accountability and you can discuss, listen to each other, support each other, and kind of go in the right direction. Some recommendations, of course, nobody's an expert on the topic. In a way, we learn from each other. So, for example, enjoy the network of D&I Shapers, talk to each other companies. What helps us, for example, Pride Business Forum a lot, that every year there is ERG networking event. I love that because, we can, last year, Karel was presenting during Prague Pride Festival, our employee resource groups, and many people from other companies that, for example, don't have yet the ERG, approached him and said, hey, can you give us some tips and help us on how we can start and so on. Of course, there's a lot of external, I can recommend McKinsey, Harvard Business Review, or Catalyst that have a lot of great resources on employee resource groups. And that's all from my side. And now I'm open for discussion, and thank you very much for your attention.